Ho ho ho! Welcome to the Cinefanatics, where we are here to tier rank all your favorite holiday classics and make you cry and whatnot. My name is Robert Adams. His name is Muty McMuterson.
You should have heard me. I said, I'm Chris Adams. I'm still muted. Never.
What is going on, everyone? Yes, it is time to tier rank some favorite holiday classics. What did you grow up with watching every December during the holidays? Are we about to destroy it? Let's find out. Before we jump into that, though, we do have to take care of the YouTube stuff. Y'all know how this goes. Streamlabs.com/Cinefanatics. Y'all got any questions, comments, issues, complaints? Let us know about that. Send them that way so we can get that information loud and clear right up here as quick as possible. Also, if you want to tell us your rankings of these, get those submitted through the Streamlabs as well. We'll read those off at the end of the show. Yes, also patreon.com/Cinefanatics. If you feel like we are worthy of your support and you have the means to support us, please hop on the tier that is good for you and your budget, your wallet, whatnot. There's a $1 tier and a $5 tier. $1 tier gets you access to Discord. $5 gets you the Discord access plus the monthly watch-alongs, the monthly trivia hangouts. We have a lot of fun with those especially. So come hop on the Patreon, help support us, and we appreciate all of your support for that. Chris, did you watch a lot of Christmas specials growing up?
Yes.
I was waiting for you to say, I watched the same ones you did, Dingus. We're brothers.
Oh, sorry. I watched the same ones you did, Dingus. We're brothers.
What's a dingus?
It's look in the mirror.
Good one. Anyways, so tonight we will be taking on a bunch of holiday classics. Let's go ahead and review real quick which movies. I'm going to call these movies throughout this one because we are the Cinefanatics. We generally talk about movies. And two, even though I believe every single one of these were actual television specials, some of them were 30 minutes, some of them were an hour long, I still always considered these movies. So that's why we're tier ranking these. Plus, we did Christmas movies and horror Christmas movies last year, so we needed something different to do this year. So here is what we are looking at tier ranking. We got 15 holiday classics, starting all the way with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and ending most recently with, I believe it was last year's Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. So these are all the ones that we will be talking about, including the very infamous Star Wars holiday special. So that should be a blast when we get to that one. Anyways, and here are the rules for tonight. I don't know if Johnny's available. Chris, do you know if Johnny's available?
I got a note saying that Johnny is taking an early vacation with his family to Paris. All of his kids. It sounds like he's intentionally leaving one behind, though, which is a weird thing to do.
Yeah, I hope that works out for him.
Doesn't sound like he loves all his children.
No, but the rules for tonight are...
So Johnny.
We've got 15 movies, so between 6 tiers, there could be 2 movies per tier. 3 of the tiers can have 3 movies. So that is what we are working with tonight. Anyways, let's go ahead and bring out... Hopefully Carl is still working, and Carl hasn't taken an early holiday
Carl's
vacation. Loyal.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and bring out Carl and get the marquee up. Hit it, Carl. All right. Here is the marquee board.
Carl is like the United States Postal Service. No matter rain, sleet, snow, whatever, he's out here doing his job, and he's looking great and wearing the same clothes every time.
Well, we can thank Frank Darabont for that. So,
thank you, Frank Darabont.
Anyways, this is the marquee board. Those of y'all that may not be familiar, this is a tier ranking show where we will tier rank all of these movies anywhere from S to F, with S being the top of it, which typically is superb, F meaning whatever word that's negative that starts with F. Feel free to use your imagination.
Freaking bad, yo.
Yeah, really freaking bad. Anyway, so that's how this is going to go. Again, there's going to be 2 movies per tier, and 3 of these tiers can have 3 movies. So, everyone good with that? We all understand? Cool. Let's go ahead and start this off with the original classic, This is 1964's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I almost want to sing the song when you say the name. Like, it's kind of hard to not Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, although that's probably DCMA, and I don't want to bother with that. So,
is it?
Possibly. I don't know.
Also, did you say DCMA? DMCA?
DMCA. No, DCMA is when they try to make movies off of comic books that don't work out very well.
Let's see. Where does Rudolph rank? I forgot we're doing questions for the audience tonight too. So give me a second here.
Yeah, so if you're in the audience and you want to vote, just vote on the pop-up that pops up in the chat. And your vote can contribute to where this is going to go. So I'll kick it off with Rudolph. This is the peak Christmas special. I love the fact that it's the first one because it's also what I consider the epitome of all Christmas specials. Every year, this is the one that no matter what's going on, this is what we have to be home and watching. And I would throw a fit if we were missing Rudolph. Especially because for a while, especially when I was younger, before this one came along, Christmas time was the only time to watch this. What happened in later years, though, is I believe this was primarily always shown by CBS. In later years, they started picking up on the fact that people are generally busy the closer you get to the holidays. After Thanksgiving, everyone's always busy and stressed out, so they ended up showing it twice every year. I don't know if that still goes on because I don't really own a TV and don't sit down and watch regular TV anymore. But yeah, this is the epitome of Christmas specials for me. This is also the epitome if we were tier ranking Rankin Bass. There's a pun there. If we were tier ranking Rankin Bass, this would also be the top of that. This is easily S tier for me.
It's just tier Rankin Bass.
Tier Rankin Bass.
Also, Jesse here makes a great point.
Yeah.
Elf wouldn't be the same without this movie, and that is very true. Very, very true.
I do like. I'll also point out his other comment here. We did the same thing. I have like pretty much every Christmas special we're talking about on here. I had recorded to one VHS, and I would just play through that entire VHS every year.
Yeah, nearly. I mean, there's a few of these we're probably missing, but for the most part, I think most of these were on our VHS that we had.
For some reason, we couldn't get that Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special recorded on VHS. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think that one's on there. That's on a VHS tape marked Disney Plus for some reason. Anyway, here's the wonderful thing about how I'm breaking this down. These are not movies in the traditional sense that we usually would marquee tier rank on this here show. We would usually be doing full length, feature length movies. These are Christmas specials, shorts, a lot of them under 30 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore I didn't feel any rhyme or reason to have to stick with our usual, my usual thing where I try to follow the rules in and of myself before presenting my tier ranking on this show. Meaning if it's like 2 movies per tier, I would follow that myself. I would rank them 2 movies per tier, and then that's what I would go after. For the Christmas specials, they're way too special for me, and I've got a whole slew of them in S tier, and I don't care. Including this one.
Yeah, that's what I always wonder. I was actually thinking of that with this as well. Is like, can I just like jot down like my little notes that I have? Can I just put them all in S tier, and we'll see exactly where they actually wind up landing? But I kind of wanted to stick to some kind of something reliable that I could say, like, yeah, I'm going to still be firmly, I want to put this S tier, but I'm going to firmly still stick with it being A.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a lot of these I only have one special in, but for a few of them I have many specials. The Rudolph definitely is in the S tier. I mean, this is the classic. This is... You got the old Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer song. You got was it Burl Ives as the snowman?
Yes.
Yeah, man, that's iconic. Iconic is his little snowman guy.
And Yukon Cornelius.
And the
Bumble. And that's the secret. Bumbles bounce.
And the Island of Misfit Toys. It's just good. And I don't know why the chat is split right now amongst 3 tiers. We got 4 watching. I need someone else to vote on one of those tiers to break up the 3-way tie right now. But yeah, this is just easily an S tier. I mean, I don't know why anyone would vote anything else. So throw that bad boy in S tier.
All right.
I was doing the sound of his nose.
So fun little trivia. Do you remember the little elf? Was it Hermie? What did he actually want to be instead of an elf building toys?
He wanted to be a dentist.
He'll be a dentist.
He wanted to be a dentist.
A dentist. Anyways, next one is the classic 1965 A Charlie Brown Christmas.
Charlie Brown Christmas is, again, here's the weird thing, and I think this is what the issue that we might run into, and I say it's an issue, it's not an issue, is that probably this entire list up top that we have here is all just going to be S tier heavy for me. I mean, I would go as far as to say I think A Charlie Brown Christmas is the definitive Christmas special. I think you got your Rudolphs, you got your Grinches, you got all your popular ones. Everybody knows them. Everybody mentions them. Charlie Brown Christmas is the one that I think is the definitive. This is when you think about a Christmas special, you're thinking about A Charlie Brown Christmas. And of the Charlie Brown specials, shows, all that, this one is the peak Charlie Brown show. I mean, you've got your Halloween, The Great Pumpkin. Nobody cares about The Great Pumpkin. I know some people probably watch that.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
I'm sure some people watch it. I actively don't remember if nobody
cares about the Thanksgiving one.
There's a Thanksgiving one?
Exactly.
Yeah, so the Christmas one is like the big one. So it's so iconic. The entire thing's so iconic to the point where like you can go and buy that Christmas tree.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use it as like table decor. Like so many people have like made versions of that Christmas tree, and just that tree itself is just like, it's just such a cute little classic iconic image. The whole thing is just like leaned over. Like I love the Charlie Brown Christmas special. It is I could probably sit here all night and just like hover in my mind over the entire thing and kind of pick out the fun stuff. Like I love all of them just like dancing on that stage or whatever, and all the different scenes.
Yeah, there was the person just doing that. Yeah. So I'm guessing S tier.
Yeah, it's S tier for me. Yeah.
S tier. S tier. Yeah. You sound like Kronk.
Hey, Charlie Brown Christmas goes in the S tier. S tier for Charlie Brown Christmas.
So the thing I really like about this particular special is it tackles two different sides, two different dichotomies of human thinking and emotion. Yeah. During the Christmas season. On one hand, you have Charlie Brown at the beginning throughout most of the special. He's sad. He's depressed. He doesn't like the over commercialized season of Christmas. And then on the other hand, you've got it where we learn the true meaning of Christmas, and everyone finds that inner joy and Christmas spirit, and everything is bright and lit up and wonderful by the end of it. I love that because that's a huge spectrum of emotions that you run through within this 30 minute, 20 something minute, including commercial special. And I think it does a very good job of nailing that. So yes, this is going to be S tier for me as well, just because of how well it told that story and got that idea across.
Yeah. And then Chad, of course, being the smart and tasteful individuals that they are, also have realized that The Charlie Brown Christmas is in the S tier.
I do say we missed a prime opportunity to sit here and talk about this movie like adults, which would be us going wah, 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 wah.
That's the content that everybody wants to come here for.
Yeah. I'm going to start doing I'm going to create a TikTok channel where I do movie reviews just talking like Charlie Brown's teacher.
I'm going to respond as Snoopy.
Yeah.
Which is exactly how a beagle sounds in real life, by the way.
I feel like we're okay with me putting this below Rudolph, though. Rudolph is still the epitome.
Did you not hear what I said earlier?
Probably not.
I said Charlie Brown Christmas is the definitive Christmas special.
Oh, yeah. No. Rudolph.
Also, everybody in the chat voted S and A. Nobody voted F, C through F.
Okay.
We all know that Charlie Brown Christmas, I don't care.
Next one, moving along here, is 1966, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. This isn't the Jim Carrey or the Benedict Cumberbatch. This is the original classic cartoon. Thurl Ravenscroft singing. Boris Karloff doing the voice of Grinch. Yeah. I love this because this is a classic story of a green furry creature that, while he's seemingly okay with Christmas, he just hates people. And I don't think like child me thought it was fun that he was like the villain that's redeemed by the end of it. Adult me, I can't think of another spirit animal that I connect with more on this planet than the Grinch. Like just the fact that he just hates the people and all the noise. And then also, thanks to the wonderful Christmas song that's sung by Thurl Ravenscroft, I now understand that I can go to a hardware store and order a 39.5-foot pole. I didn't know they actually made those until this came out. So this is, I think this is a good classic Christmas special as well. I do have this in A, though, just because.
Shouldn't have to go to a hardware store to get one of those. You should already have one.
A 39.5-foot pole?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, this is A tier for me.
I'm again. I went hog wild. I've got a bunch in the S tier. Guess what? Grinch is one of them as well. Is the Jim Carrey movie S tier? I don't remember where we put it when we ranked movies last year. But I do know that. Yeah, I do know that this particular version of the Grinch story is absolutely S tier in terms of Christmas specials. Pretty much everything I put in the S tier, save two of them, which two of them are more personal. The rest of the ones I put in the S tier, I hold all of them to be like, when you think of Christmas specials, these are what you're thinking of. Rudolph, Charlie Brown Christmas, and this one, Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I think all of these. If you're tuning into, it used to be called ABC Family. I think it's called Freeform, or I don't know if they changed their name again.
Yeah, they've been like Family Channel, ABC Family, Freeform. They've been like multiple things.
Whatever the quote unquote family channel was, always did the 25 days of Christmas, and it was always like, all right, which day is Rudolph and Charlie Brown and Grinch gonna be on? We gotta make sure we hit those. This is the classic version of the story. I love it. This is the straight out of the Dr. Seuss books onto the screen animation. All the Who's down in Whoville. Avudore. Anyway, I love it. It's just one of the classics. It's S tier for me too.
So I said A, you said S.
And
how's the chat looking?
Chat saying S.
I probably would go S if this was also had Taylor Momsen as Cindy Lou Who, because I love Taylor Momsen in the Jim Carrey version.
She would not have been alive yet.
Well, no. But so they're saying S also?
Yep.
So that would put it at the tail end of S. So now I foresee an issue that we're going to run into if you're just going to say everything is S tier.
Oh, I'm not going to say everything is S tier. We're just a lot of the classic ones are just front loaded right now.
I will tell you that I do know of at least one other one on here that both you and I firmly agree is S tier. That's probably I would say it's probably going to bump Grinch in my opinion. But we'll see. Stay tuned to find out which one that is.
I mean, I could see that, and I would be all right with it.
Yeah, because you know which one I'm talking about too.
Yep.
Next on the block is 1969's Frosty the Snowman.
Happy birthday!
This isn't a Christmas movie or holiday special. This is a birthday. Yeah.
This is a birthday special. Oh man, Frosty the Snowman, love it. Again, S tier. It's Frosty the Snowman. The first one is such an absolute classic. Like literally, the ones that are at like the beginning of our old VHS tape of all the holiday specials are pretty much all S tier. In fact, there's only a couple of them that were on that VHS tape that I wouldn't put in S tier. This is one of those that I do. The stuff that I remember from this from a child is messy.
Yeah.
And the happy birthday and just it's here. I will say this to you guys. There's a few of these on this list that I actually watched for the first time in preparation for this marquee, and then there's quite a few of them that I would like to watch again, but didn't before this marquee, knowing full well I've seen them at least 20 plus times in my lifetime, if not 25 plus times. This being one of them. I do not need to rewatch Frosty the Snowman, but I would love to rewatch Frosty the Snowman. I love his character. I love how like lively and ignorant he was, but it was still a lot of fun. And all the kids run around and just like how the song and everything plays into it. It's this one is a classic for me. This one's also one of my S tiers.
Yeah. This is I call this fun and surprisingly warm, given the fact that it's about a snowman. It's great music. The songs in this, like all the music that they put in it's really good, especially because this special they played the Frosty the Snowman song in sections along with what they're actually doing throughout the entirety of the special. So like the part where like they took him down the streets of town right to the traffic cop, that actually happens in the special, like later on into the special. So they're animating all the bits and pieces of the song, and it fits. You wouldn't think that something like that would work so well, but it does. And like I loved it because of that. I do remember this being paired with Rudolph all the time. So this is kind of like, for me, it was watch Rudolph and then immediately after you watch Frosty the Snowman. Yep. That's how they were aired on TV when I was growing up. So this is another, like, kind of like what we've been saying. These are all good classics for a good reason. I have this as an A. Mainly because, again, I wanted to put other things S tier. So,
yeah. So I did just the free for all, just like throw them wherever I feel like. You did the actual like I'm going to follow by the rules.
Yep. So we're testing out different new waters with this one, so to speak.
We're switching here. You usually do a free for all, and I'm usually doing the rules.
No, I usually always do it this way.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go. Well, Chad is for some reason saying C.
I mean, I can understand that.
I complimented them on their tastes earlier, but now I'm questioning them.
We take it back now. So you said S, I said A, and they say C. So luckily, we don't have to figure out what's going to be an S again. S, A, and C. So this would be like towards the end of A.
S, A, and C.
Middle or end of A. I'm just going to put it middle of A. That feels about right.
I think If it's S, A, and C, I think it probably goes at the bottom of A, right?
I don't know. Just either one of those would be okay.
Let's see. Why do some of these have such long titles to them?
Yeah. So next one is 1970s Santa Claus is Coming to Town. This is, for the most part, I mean, other than the Star Wars holiday special, which we'll talk about here in a bit, this is one of 2 Christmas specials. For some reason, I never watched them as a kid. Like,
which is crazy.
Yeah, it just completely, like, I never saw this one. Like, I feel like I was aware that it existed. I just never watched it. And I don't know if, like, from the commercials, it just looked too dull or boring. I'm not certain. So while most of everything that I'm giving an opinion about here, most of them are coming from, like, the childhood version of me. Like, if I had watched Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer for the first time now, as an adult, I don't know if I would have the appreciation to stick it at the epitome of S tier, or same with Charlie Brown Christmas. Everything else, I don't know if I would rank it anywhere near as high through adult eyes. But now I've gone and watched Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and it's a cute movie. It's another good, like, I would say, classic take on the origin of Santa Claus
with the song.
Yeah, but I do also feel like it is kind of slow and dull for me.
It has its moments.
It has a couple of things that I do like about it. Mainly the Winter Warlock here. I love what they did with his character in it. His character is, like, really good in this, but otherwise, I don't feel like this is that strong of a holiday special. And now watching it as an adult, I've already seen, like, multiple stories, movies, TV shows, whatever, that do a take on the Santa Claus origin. And I'll be honest, I feel like some of those might do it a little bit better. I'll say that Klaus movie that came out on Netflix, I think that does a better Santa Claus, a more well-rounded, a more heartier origin of Santa Claus than this one does. But
my heart.
But I mean, it's a cute movie. I don't absolutely hate it, but it's not, especially because, again, I'm an adult now. It's not one I'm very likely to revisit. I will easily watch all the other Christmas specials that we've talked about so far, and a lot of the other ones we have yet to talk about. I'll watch those before I watch this. So I do have this as a D tier because it is good. It's not F. I got a couple of Fs on here. So I say D.
All right. Well, here goes my opinion. You ready?
S.
What does Santa Claus start with?
Really? Did you watch this more as a kid than I did? Because
a whole lot more. Yeah.
I never watched this as a kid.
A whole lot more. Yeah, this is one of the classics I watched all the time.
What
does Santa Claus start with? It starts with the letter S. What's the next letter in Santa Claus? A. That's where I have
it. A. I'm trying to think. By the time you were old enough to watch and understand Christmas movies, would probably put you, like, around 4 or 5. I'm trying to remember how old I was. So at 5, I would have been 13.
Just add 8.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So at 5, I would have been 13 years old. Yeah, about 13 years old, I was not interested in watching older Christmas specials again.
Which is weird, because at 13, I was like, hell yeah, put them on.
Well,
throw those bad boys on. This is my tradition.
I wasn't interested in watching an old one for the first time brand new.
Fair. That's fair.
So I was okay if, like, 13 years old, I'll watch Rudolph still. I'll watch How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Frosty. Yeah. But, yeah. Didn't care.
No, this is an A tier for me. Yeah, like you were saying, the Winter Warlock, he's an amazing character. You put one foot in front of the other. That's such a great song, such a great moment. I love Santa Claus's character. Kris Kringle, before he actually becomes, like, Santa Claus down the road, like, you could just see, like, the integrity of his character at the beginning is fantastic. The the bad guy, Burgermeister Meisterburger. Come on. Top 5 villain names of all time. Let's be honest. Burgermeister Meisterburger. Yeah, this is firmly in the 70s, beginning of the 70s, where we definitely still didn't like Germans for some reason.
For some reason. Are you not familiar with the reason why we weren't huge fans at that time?
I'll let people jump to make their own conclusions or whatever about why we might not like.
We're here to talk about Christmas specials, not history.
Anyway, yeah. There's just so much that this did right. Like they're really cool. Like there's like really cool moments, like the elves, the
Kringles.
The Kringles.
I just love how they introduce them. They're like, we got Dingle Kringle, Fingle Kringle, Lingle Kringle.
That's the Kringles. Or whatever the accent was, I forget. But
I don't know why you went Irish all of a sudden.
I felt like, well, I mean, he's got red hair. I felt like they were Irish, but just maybe not as thick. But like how we got Mrs. Claus was the she was the school teacher, right?
Yeah, Jessica.
We officially know that Jessica is the name of Mrs. Claus.
Which, here's the funny thing with that. This is another one of those stories that I feel like firmly cements the fact that Mrs. Claus has always been a grade level or school level educator of some sort, because we also got that in Santa Claus 2, where Tim Allen Santa Claus marries, I think she was the principal. Elizabeth Mitchell's character. I think she was the principal. Yeah.
I wonder if there's some kind of like lore that I just wasn't aware of beforehand. That
like they always have the educators.
That like Santa Claus was always something, and then she was always like a teacher of some sort.
Klaus. Go back to that Klaus Netflix 2019.
She was in Klaus too.
She was a teacher in Klaus also.
There you go.
A fishmonger, apparently.
That's fine.
But yeah, she's always an educator in the school system of some sort or another. Interesting.
And anyway, it does pain me to not put this in S tier also, because Topper sells the thing. Look at him. Look at the little penguin buddy. But this is an A tier for me. It just doesn't hit as hard as some of the others that we just widely say are classics. So
yeah. And the chat is saying,
chat says B tier.
B tier. All right, so between the two of us, that would put it between B and C. So that will put it in B. Chat coming in with the deciding vote there.
And give me a second here. The next title is also long.
So while he's typing the title, I'll actually say it. This is 1974's The Year Without a Santa Claus.
Oh, it's without a Santa Claus. Okay.
Yeah. So it's another Rankin Bass. So far, Rankin Bass rules the Christmas holiday season. You got Rudolph, Frosty the Snowman was Rankin Bass, even though it was 2D animation. Santa Claus is Coming to Town and A Year Without a Santa Claus is like Rudolph is stop motion animation.
Yeah.
So
like we've already kind of stated, at some point you get too old to watch ones that you haven't seen before. And while that was for you on Santa Claus is Coming to Town, that was this one for me as well. I did not watch The Year Without a Santa Claus when I was younger, so I knew about Heat Miser, Snow Miser, the song, I'm Mr. Heat Miser, whatever I touch, whatever, that song. I'm too much,
Yeah.
That, so like I knew of this, but it was never like, I don't know if we even had this one recorded on the VHS. I don't think we did. And so therefore it was not in one of them. It was not, well, we did at some point we did have the last one. Would you stop? Don't do that.
There was a second tape that we did, and we did record Santa Claus is Coming to Town on that one, and I always fast forward through it when I was that second tape was more for like the stuff that you watched, rather than what I watched.
So anyway, we didn't have this one, and so this one missed it as a kid. Watched it more recently within the last few years, and it's cute, it's fine, but I think it's one of those situations that because I didn't get it as a kid, and it's kind of what you were bringing up earlier with Rudolph, because I didn't see it as a kid, there's no magic to it, there's no tradition to it for me, there's no deep feeling of I need to watch this every Christmas. So this one for me, story wise, it doesn't hit as classic. Is there even a song in this one, like a traditional Christmas song that is at forefront in this?
Not really.
One? So that's the other thing too, is that it doesn't have that musical tie-in to make it as memorable as, say, like Santa Claus is Coming to Town or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or Frosty the Snowman.
Mm-hmm.
And so for this one, it's a C tier for me.
So everything I said about Santa Claus is Coming to Town, this is the other one that I didn't watch as a kid. I'll be honest, my only connection to this particular holiday special was Mr. Freeze watching it in Batman and Robin. Like, the only thing I knew from this is the song from the Snow Miser or whatever. I'm Mr. White Christmas, because Mr. Freeze is watching that particular moment in Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I don't have this special in high regard to begin with. Second of all, Batman and Robin is not going to be the vessel that sells me on it either. So.
Oh, come on.
Just saying.
That classic holiday movie, Batman and Robin.
Yeah. So just like Santa Claus is Coming to Town, I also have this in D tier. I really don't care about either one of these. They were good. They're both good. They're both classics. I can understand why people would consider them classic and why people would like them. It's just not a classic for me. And again, I have at least two others that I am desperately wanting to put into the F tier. So, yeah, Mr. Freeze was smoking a cigar, and he was like in a blue silk robe.
Listen, we probably just shouldn't worry about questioning Batman and Robin.
No, sorry, I'm getting it confused with the moment where he's watching his wedding video.
Yeah.
It's the henchmen are watching this because they're all singing along to it while they're like shivering and freezing to death.
So I said C tier, you said D tier, and chat, we got a 3-way tie right now between C, D, and F. So I think the even out there is that it's probably D, and so I'm gonna go with a CDD.
CDD, which is gonna put it at the top of D.
Just the top of D.
Should put it upside down. Just the tip of the D.
just the tip.
Yeah.
You can't say that. This is a holiday special. This is a family time.
Yeah, we started this show at 9:00 at night. Take that as you will. Not only is this the first available time that the two of us are available to do this show, but there's also a reason why we do it later at night, where at least the younger kids aren't potentially going to be watching, even though I know this can replay on YouTube for all eternity until whatever.
I would like to clarify that nobody was actually complaining.
Yeah. Next one also came out in 1974. I can't remember if this is actually also Rankin Bass. It is
Rankin Bass, yes.
It is?
Yes.
Interesting. So it is 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, which is basically a holiday special that is loosely based off of the story, the poetry, the rhyme. or nursery rhyme, or whatever you want to refer to it as.
Very loosely, in that there's nothing about the actual rhyme until literally the last 2 minutes of the whole thing.
Yeah. So kind of like what I was saying with Frosty the Snowman, where they built an entire holiday special around the song, and they did a good job with like timing parts of the actual story to moments in the song and made a very good special out of it. It worked. This one, not so much. Like, really, there's the beginning of it. I think there's a little piece of the book in the middle, and then a lot of it just primarily at the end when Santa Claus actually visits.
Yeah.
It is a little bit clunky because of that. The animation is really weird on this. Basically, we've got two different stories that are slightly intertwined. We got a story of like a clockmaker and his family, and then we got the story of all these like mice, because they're supposed to be stirring or not stirring or whatever. So therefore, we need to highlight the mice in this. It's a fun story. Like, I enjoy it. I did watch this one every year. This was another one that was recorded to our precious VHS tape, so I did watch it. But going back, like the animation on it, some of it was kind of weird, especially the human characters. Like Santa was probably the weirdest one, and as you can see here in this image, yeah, he's kind of weird. I don't know why his cheeks are bigger than his nose. That was always a weird image for me. And especially because they do the whole, like, from the story where he puts his finger to the side of his nose, which that I don't understand. I guess it's another form of hush and be quiet, but he does it like over here, which is strange.
I've seen Santa do that like all the
ways
time.
Of doing it.
That's like a thing that Santa does all the time.
Yeah. There are some songs in this as well, and the songs are catchy. I thought the songs were actually done pretty well. But yeah, I didn't have it in high regard as far as it sticking to the actual story, plus some of the weirdness of how it looks. I do have it as a C. Please keep in mind, though, I do still like this one.
It's interesting. So it's weird that we had this one on the tape, but I never actually watched it when I was a kid. This is one of the ones that for somehow, some way, I ended up skipping by.
Probably because it was too weird looking.
I don't know about that, because I watched it for the first time, basically. I mean, I watched it when I was a kid and just don't remember, but this is the first time like I watched it and kind of really took in what I was seeing. And I watched it for the first time for this Marquee, and the animation style, the way the characters are designed is exactly the same way as they're designed in the claymation stop motion specials. It's just hand drawn this time instead
2D.
of it's just 2D instead of like a 3D model of some sort. It's cute. It's cute. It's fine. It's a very like one note story. It feels like an episode of something that should exist in a series of stories that are around this mouse family and this clockmaker's family. Like, you feel like we should have like a whole series of episodes with these folks, and this just happens to be the Christmas episode. That's kind of what it feels like, especially because it's a very like hyper focused in on just the mouse that you see in the image here. It's just a story that's kind of hyper focused on him and his disbelief in Santa. So because of that, it does feel like it's supposed to belong to something else and not just kind of a standalone on its own type of thing. I do like the use of pretty much the whole "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" poem right at the end. It's kind of a neat way to just put the bow on it and wrap it up. But again, like we were saying, the rest of it doesn't necessarily feel like it's actually part of what the story of that poem was trying to convey beforehand. And I don't want to like sit here and like hyper analyze this thing. It's a cute little Christmas special, but it's one that isn't necessarily for me. It's not one that I'm as eager to revisit. And I think, again, it's one of those situations where I didn't watch this one, or at least watch this one multiple times as a kid. Therefore, I don't really remember. It doesn't stick with me as hard or as much. So for that, because it is cute, it is a fairly enjoyable one. It's one that I will probably show my kids someday. I also put this one in the C tier.
And the chat.
And chat is also saying it's a solid C tier.
So that's good. This is one of the ones that I was almost worried that I feel like not many people are aware of the existence of this particular Christmas special. So I was kind of worried that we were going to get a lot of people were like, "What's this? I've never heard of this one before."
Which was the Night Before Christmas?
Yeah, there's one other on here that I'm not sure if people are completely familiar with either.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, they made these programs to air on network TV, so I can't be the only person that's aware of the existence of these. There had to be at least one other person out of the millions of people on this planet that are familiar with the 'Twas the Night Before Christmas or the other one that we're going to talk about here in a little bit.
I'm going to do something a little bit different with this next one.
Yeah, I got a bit to talk about with this also.
I'm changing up the poll a little bit in how I organize the poll typically.
Probably a good call.
Because I don't want to make two polls.
Just go straight for the jugular on this one. We already know where this one's going to go. This is 1978, and please focus specifically on that year because we are at everybody's favorite time talking about the Star Wars Holiday Special. Before we actually talk about this, what I wanted to mention is first and foremost, the Star Wars Holiday... Shut up, William. Just no. This is going F tier. We can state that right now. But before we actually talk about the reasons why it's F tier, like you need a reason for that, here at the Cinefanatics, we don't want to give off an image that we are condoning watching any kind of a movie or TV special that has not been officially released. This is a bootlegged video movie special that was never officially released. I think it aired on TV one time, but unless you watched it back in 1978, which I'm going to be honest, probably most of our audience that's watching this did not watch this when it aired on TV back in 1978. For example, I wasn't even alive. So,
and if he wasn't alive, I definitely wasn't alive.
So, that being said, the only way to watch this is by bootlegging it or pirating it or whatever.
Wrong.
We hold on. I'm making a statement and a joke here, and I will come back to that. This was one that the only way, when I was younger, the only way to see this is if you happen to buy a bootleg video that couldn't be found anywhere except at in my case, a toy and comic book convention in 1999, sitting on a table right next to Roger Corman's 1994 version of Fantastic Four, which also would not necessarily be an S tier, but I will state that it is actually better than Josh Trank's Fan 4 Stick.
Oof.
So that was the only way to watch that Fantastic Four movie. This is also the only way at the time to watch the Star Wars Holiday Special, which I would attest is better than Josh Trank's Fan 4 Stick. So that being said, you can actually watch this entire, I don't know why you would want to, but you could watch it on YouTube. So it is available to watch publicly on YouTube.
And that's where I watched it because it's on YouTube and there's no copyright takedowns of it. So nobody cares.
Yeah. Here's what I will say. I will say one thing very positive about this that I absolutely love about the Star Wars Holiday Special. And I mean this with all sincerity. I'm not setting up a sarcastic joke or anything. Episode 4, better known as Star Wars, or now known as Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, came out in 1977. This holiday special came out in 1978. One movie, just the very first Star Wars movie, was enough to cement the Star Wars IP into the zeitgeist of pop culture, enough for them to make a holiday special the very next year. That's impressive. That is super impressive that it had that much of a fan following already just immediately off of that first movie. Because like for us, again, I wasn't born at the time that the original Star Wars came out. By the time I was old enough to understand what Star Wars was, it was already this big like hype machine. Star Wars Episode 4, 5, and 6 had already been released. So yeah, I've only known of Star Wars as like the biggest like IP on the planet by the time I was able to understand movies. So the fact that this came out a year after the very first movie is super impressive. That being said, this is a piece of shit. This is terrible movie. Special, whatever. The only other positive thing, again, not being sarcastic, that I could attest to this as well, is it did give us the first appearance of Boba Fett in an animated segment. But I mean, that is your first look at Boba Fett. Keep in mind, this is compared to the original theatrical release of Episode 4 that they did not have Boba Fett in. Of course, like when you get the special editions, the DVD and the Blu-ray releases, George Lucas did go back and add a quick cameo of Boba Fett in A New Hope. So just keeping that in mind.
Yep, he premiered in a weird animated piece of this and now has his own Disney Plus show. So there you go.
That being said, this is my first F tier. And I can't believe I'm putting something Star Wars related in the F tier. But
yeah, that's kind of my point too, is that it pains me that I have to put anything Star Wars related so far down on our marquee list outside of doing just strictly a Star Wars ranking. But this thing is just awful. It's just so bad. There's just zero redeeming qualities outside of maybe Luke Skywalker's crazy wig and mascara.
What's with the eyeshadow?
And Lumpy. Sorry, Lumpy's a redeeming factor too.
Lumpy's watching porn. All right, let's just get that out.
Grandpa's watching porn.
Oh, Grandpa's watching porn.
Grandpa's
okay, yeah, I don't remember the stupid names of the families.
Chewbacca's dad's watching porn. Lumpy is a kid, and the kid is not watching.
I mean,
anyway,
could be. Who knows?
There's just so much. There's just so many things to hate about this, but there's a couple things to love, and one of the things that I absolutely love is that Harrison Ford did not want to be there at all, and you could just tell.
Yeah,
he goes in for the hug on Chewbacca's family. He's like, all right, it's not good to see you. All right, why the hell am I here right now? What is this? The other thing too, here's why this is bad. I'll say that this is why this is bad, because the story. Okay, we got to get Chewbacca home for Life Day. Nothing wrong with that, actually. Life Day being the Star Wars universe's Christmas, so to speak.
Or at least Christmas they celebrate on Kashyyyk.
I think it might actually be a universe-wide thing. I don't know if it's just the Wookiees, but someone who's a bigger Star Wars nerd could probably correct me. I could have sworn it was universe-wide, though. Anyway, nothing wrong with that story. Where this loses me is at one point, Harvey Korman, not to be confused with the Korman that you mentioned before, which I always got confused when I heard their names when I was younger. But Harvey Korman, hanging out in a bar with B. Arthur,
Yeah.
and he's got this giant gaping hole in his head that he pours some kind of space booze into, and he's sitting there like...
Like he's getting drunk through a hole on the top of his head.
Getting drunk through a hole in his head. Hitting on B. Arthur, and the entire time I'm like, cool. What about the Wookiees? What happened to them? Can we find out where Chewbacca is right now? Can we find out where what's the story there? Is he making it home in time? I would love to know. Would love to know what's happening there. It was just so weird. Like, I get that they wanted to do like a variety show type situation with it, and that's fine, but it did not age well. If it was aged right when it came out, which I don't know back in 1978 if people were on board with this or how they felt about this in 1978, but I know for me it did not age well past that.
Well, seeing that it never got an official release on video or anything, yeah,
maybe not.
It was not very well accepted.
Yeah, because there's like a weird, like the hollow chest dancers, and then you've got there's like a musical break for like the Imperial officers who come into the Wookiee home.
And this Jefferson starship.
They get to sit down, and one of them is hyper focused on this like little music box, and there's like a holographic band or what. And it's like,
yeah,
what is happening? And then, okay, so
we built this galaxy.
Listen, in here there is a fun, and I use that term very loosely, story that is present, which is the Han's got to get Chewie home. In the meantime, the Empire is trying to hunt down the rebels still, and they're kind of blocking entrance and exit to Kashyyyk, and Chewie might not be able to make it because the Imperial officers are inside the Wookiee. Like, there's some good like Star Wars-y stuff in there, but absolutely none of this is canon. Probably should be parts of it.
A bit funny,
just for the funniness of it. But yeah, none of this is canon. Who cares? Chewbacca's not married and has a kid in any of the other movies. Like, freaking Maz Kanata was calling him her boyfriend, so.
It would have been great if, like in episode 3, when Yoda goes to Kashyyyk, if they would have just had like a quick glimpse of like Grandpa Lumpy or whatever. If they were just like in the background, just enough to like, I do believe the holiday special may be considered canon. That would have been hilarious.
It would have been, but as Jeremy says here, I don't think George Lucas was really on board with this.
Yeah. So I'm gonna guess. Guess you're saying F tier also.
Oh, this is 100% F tier, and the chat thinks so as well. This is just throw that sucker down in the F tier.
This might be a hot take, but I'd rather watch The Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker. I don't know if that's something you can say on the internet.
That's not a hot take. I actually would rather watch any other piece of Star Wars, anything other than this.
I'd rather sit there and watch. What's the I forgot what they called them, but back like in the 80s, what was really popular was the tidy-whitey underwear that had like cartoon characters on it. I'd rather sit and stare at a Star Wars tidy-whitey underwear, just the underwear hanging there. I'd rather just stare at it for like the entirety of the special instead of actually watching the special. Not actually on a person, just the underwear just like clipped to like a clothes hanger, like it's drying in the backyard on the clothesline. I want to make sure I get that perfectly clear. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah, there's no way I'm adding anything to that. You're going to sit in
it. We have finally reached the point where we're talking about Christmas specials. Yeah, exactly. I was just trying to think of the most off-the-wall thing that could have anything to do with Star Wars. Okay, moving on. Next
time, just go with paint dry or grass grow.
1981's A Chipmunk Christmas. If you would like to start on this one, Chris.
Yeah, so this one I've had ample opportunity to watch this one as a kid. This one definitely was on our VHS tape. And it has existed. I probably even did actually watch it once or twice as a kid. Watched it again what feels like the first time in preparation for this because I hadn't seen it in forever. Didn't really remember what happened. It's cute. It's adorable. It's lovely. It's the Chipmunks and their squeaky voices, which I will state, if you're watching on something that doesn't have as good a quality or has maybe the VHS quality, very hard to understand what they're saying. If you're watching it on something that's maybe a little bit more high definition, has been remastered a little bit, maybe you could understand what the Chipmunks are saying there, but in the format that I had to view it on was very much like an old TV show. So I think I got the gist of it, basically, is what I'm saying. It's cute. It's actually a really great story. I love that. I love the story here of how like Dave was like mad at Alvin, and Alvin really was actually doing the kind-hearted right thing the entire time. And just, gosh, it's one of those where this entire thing could have been solved in 5 minutes if Alvin could just communicate. Like, yeah. Hey, real quick, gave my harmonica to sick dying kid. Not gonna have one for our Carnegie Hall performance. we need to get me a new harmonica. Dave, maybe you could front the cash and buy us a new one. Because I'm sure you actually could do that. If I went to you to, maybe buy the new one, we could have this whole thing solved. But no, gotta go the long way around and not communicate about it. So
Christmas special has to Christmas special, yo.
Exactly. For me, I think you are probably going to be more attached to this one than I am. And therefore I have this one as one of my C tier votes. Because I don't really care to have a hula hoop for Christmas.
I was about to say, like, this is a good special and all, but all I really want is a hula hoop. Yeah, I mean, you basically said everything that I was about to say. Like, as a kid, this is a cute story. As an adult, I'm like, Alvin, just tell Dave what you did with the harmonica. Just talk about it. Like,
use your words.
So yeah, I agree with all of that. The other thing I really like about this is, surprisingly, I don't know if many people know this, there is a song that is referred to as the Chipmunks song, which you would think would be like the theme song to Alvin and the Chipmunks, which most people, if you're familiar with the older Alvin and the Chipmunks, like cartoons from like the 80s, the 90s, you're probably used to the theme song being that do type of song. The Chipmunks song is actually the Christmas song that they sing in this. Christmas time is here. That is the Chipmunks song, which is weird, but whatever. I feel like that's a really good classic song, and I've heard it done by other people other than the Chipmunks. And for some weird reason, I still appreciate the Chipmunk version the most. Probably because that's when I first heard it as a kid watching this. I love this special, even though it is very focused on the Chipmunks instead of an overarching idea. But I think of it a lot like the Charlie Brown Christmas. We got the Charlie Brown property, but we're telling a really good story with it. While this one, we got Alvin and the Chipmunks, which is a very niche cartoon at the time, telling a really good story. But yeah, this is another one that I adored watching on our VHS tape. I do, however, I have this as a B. So you said C, I say B. Chat, where are we putting this?
Chat, we're doing a C through F poll for, so give me a second here. Can use this time to highlight anything that we need to highlight on the channel.
So yeah, y'all got any questions, comments, issues, streamlabs.com/cinefanatics, Patreon, hop on the tier that's good for you. If you would like to share your rankings of these so far, Streamlabs, we will read that off here in a little bit. And of course, at the end of this, we're going to have one more pass over all of these. Passover, funny. One more run through of
different holiday.
Different holiday, I know, but one more run through to see if we want to make any last minute changes at the end. So,
yeah.
Anyways, do we have the results from the chat?
We've got 2 votes. Maybe we get one more in there. Maybe we get one more. I mean, right now the 2 votes are on C. So,
okay.
Yep, everyone's C. All right, cool. There we go.
So we are going to go C. I would recommend let's put this over 'Twas the Night Before Christmas.
That's okay. I'm fine with that.
Cool.
As it stands right now, I think there's going to be very little, if anything, that I'm going to want to shift around, really.
There's one that I know I want to move, but I'm almost certain it's going to move naturally anyways.
Yeah.
Especially because I think you've already confirmed earlier that it was going to move. So.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
All right.
Oh. In tradition of the animated characters and their Christmas specials.
Yeah. Now, one of the ones that I do hold in top regard as far as that particular thing, Mickey's Christmas Carol came out in 1983. For me, I will say, and I know a lot of people are going to have opinions on this, there's been so many different retellings of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. This might be a little controversial. This is probably my favorite. And I know a lot of people absolutely love the Muppet Christmas Carol with Michael Caine, which I do too. Michael Caine makes a fantastic Ebenezer Scrooge. But you can't beat Scrooge playing Scrooge. Like, it's right there. It's perfect. Scrooge McDuck as Ebenezer Scrooge. Mickey Mouse as Bob Cratchit. Goofy as Jacob Marley. Like, this is a fantastic retelling of the Christmas Carol story, and I love it.
Did Scrooge McDuck exist before this?
Yes. Scrooge McDuck was a part of, he was actually in short Disney cartoons that would play like in the movie theater before a movie. Mm-hmm. He actually, I believe he was more of like a scientist, kind of like a Bill Nye, Beakman type Mr. Wizard character.
Interesting.
So yeah, this is probably this is the one that I feel like this is my top of the, if we were tier ranking all the Christmas Carol versions, this would be my S tier. As far as this goes, I have this in B.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't think I ever watched this one, and I had to watch it before we did the Marquee here, and it's about 26 minutes, so it is a very quick rendition of the Christmas Carol story. So much in that by the time that he was getting visited by the ghosts of the different times, I was like, oh wow, we're just speeding through. We're kind of speed running this bad boy. There's not a whole lot, I think, for me to say on this. It is a very solid interpretation of the Christmas Carol story. I mean, obviously you got your classic Disney characters, your Mickey, your Goofy, your Donald, all present here. I do like that they took characters from outside of the general normal Disney centric, or I don't know how to phrase it, like the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse characters. Essentially, they went outside of the Mickey Mouse brand to the other Disney IPs for some of these characters here, including Jiminy Cricket for the Ghosts of Christmas Past, and
or the characters from Wind in the Willows as the charity people that are going around at the beginning trying to collect charity, whatever.
Yeah, so they did some fun stuff with that for sure, and I kind of like that about it, but as a whole, like, it's fine. I think generally speaking, they have to do something very interesting now for a Christmas Carol story in order for me to really be on board with it. I think, we definitely all hold the Muppet one in high regard because the Muppets are the Muppets, and Muppets being involved in anything is always typically a good time.
As you'll see here in a little bit,
unless it's an adult themed Muppet adjacent property about a police station or something.
They can never nail that.
That one's a little weird. I was specifically talking about one movie with Melissa McCarthy in it, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Outside of that, anyway, this particular one, it's fine. It's cute. It's great. It's good for the kids. Love it. These are all pretty much good for the kids. It is C tier for me. And we've got votes in the chat for S tier, so people really be loving the Mickey's Christmas Carol.
So S, B, and C. So I'll probably put it in A. I'd put it, I'm okay with it going A, but I'm going to put it behind Frosty.
Yeah, I would go at the bottom of A. I got the Chipmunk song stuck in my head now.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's an earworm of a song. Christmas time is here. Me, I want a hula hoo. All right. This one's going to be a classic for both of us because I know both of us absolutely love this one. 1987's A Garfield Christmas.
Oh, Garfield. I need to watch this one again, honestly. I want to hang out with Grandma Arbuckle.
Yeah. It's a good old-fashioned Christmas down on the farm. A little overeating never did you any harm.
Listen, this is one of the situations where this one might be a little bit more personal to the two of us rather than a lot of y'all out there. I don't know what y'all's connections are with the old Garfield animated show, and therefore also this particular Christmas classic in and of itself. But if there's one thing I remember being a family tradition, it's whenever we turn on the lights outside or plug in the tree, and we all would mimic exactly what they do in the show, which is, ooh.
Yeah. I knew that was going to get brought up when we talk about this. Like it is in the cartoon, it's very over exaggerated, like super. But yeah, it's good.
This one is just this is fun for the whole family on this one. You got John Boy, you got Doc Boy, you got
Good Boy, Attaboy.
Good Boy, Attaboy.
That particular joke. When I first saw this, I was crying. I was laughing so hard. So basically, Garfield's still asleep, and y'all know how much like Garfield likes to sleep. And then John wakes him up like, "Hey, we got to go to the family farm. We got to meet Dad, Mom, Grandma, and Doc Boy." And Garfield, being the sarcastic bastard that he is like, "Yeah, and Good Boy and Bad Boy and Attaboy." And I'm just laughing so hard. And I still, to this day, I laugh at that joke. I love that joke so much. And Garfield just has so many good ones in this.
It's great. It's also like the gift that was it, I believe Odie is giving Garfield, or did I get him backwards? Yeah, Odie's giving Garfield the back scratcher. I was like, damn, that's a good little gift right there. That looks great. This little, he just made him a little back scratcher out of a little garden tool and a stick. Yeah, basically that. Oh, don't ever do that again on the stream. Yeah, I love the Garfield Christmas special. And listen, we've been going through this entire thing without me saying S tier for something in a while. So S tier for Garfield Christmas special for me. I know we have to keep 3, but listen, I threw a bunch of them in there. So wherever it lands is where it lands.
So I grew up just absolutely loving Garfield. Everything Garfield related when I was a kid, I loved. The comics, the books, the Garfield and Friends cartoon. Everything Garfield related, I love. Until they did the Bill Murray CGI, and I was like, yeah, this sucks. But yeah, this is like peak Christmas special for me. Now, I did my rankings and my choices I already did according to how we're ranking these anyways. So I have Garfield Christmas in the A tier, but at the top of A tier.
Top of A tier.
So that little hole right there in the A, that's where I want to stick it.
All right. So I
thank you for not responding to that.
Yep, Chad is saying S. I'm going S. You're going A. So it's a toss up, I think, with between it and Grinch right now. But obviously, we know that the next thing is going to kind of
yeah. Do we just want to go ahead and stick this in A for right now, or?
I mean, I would. We gotta see what the chat what the poll says, but. Yeah, all these Christmas specials start with the letter A.
Yeah, because they're all A something Christmas. A Charlie Brown Christmas, a Garfield Christmas.
Muffet. Yeah, there we go. I did the wrong thing. I would almost. I want to hear the chat, but I would almost move Mickey down already.
Actually, I think I'm going to go ahead and do that.
It really depends on if chat is as attached to this as the two of us are. Anyway.
Because at the very least, I know the next one is going to cause some shuffling around.
Yes, sir. I'd be really curious. We put this on Twitter afterwards and see what people who aren't here currently think about this. All the folks later on.
I am going to put, well, yeah, we're still waiting for the chats on Garfield.
No, chat is S.
Chat is S. So what do you want to do with it for right now, knowing that we're probably about to move it again?
Put it in A.
Okay.
Because what did you have? You had A?
A.
Yeah, it's at top of A right now. It might even... Yeah, just leave it right there.
Okay. Next one, 1987's A Muppet Family Christmas. I will preface this as one other thing that's going to show the importance of this particular piece of Christmas special goodness. This is one of the very, very few Muppet things, whether TV show, special, or a movie. This is one of the very few that incorporates all 4 Muppet properties. What I mean by that is The Muppets, Sesame Street, Fraggle Rock, and Muppet Babies. All 4 of them are a part of Muppet Family Christmas.
All the Muppet properties at that time.
Now, Muppet Babies in particular, that depends on how you watch this. If you watch the original broadcast, the one that we did record and put on that sacred VHS we've been talking about this entire time, then you can see the Muppet Babies segment. There were some issues in regards to the licensing and rights of some of the IPs and some of the music, especially in later years. Like, what was it? The Muppets are owned by Disney now, but the Fraggles are not. So stuff like that. It's very hard to find a modern release of... Yes, I think Fraggles are like a part of like HBO Max or something like that.
No, I'm pretty sure the Fraggle is on Disney Plus now too.
Whatever. There's licensing rights issues, particularly in regards to this. And it's hard to find a good copy of it nowadays that doesn't have stuff edited out of it from the original broadcast when it first aired on TV in 1987. And I know like the Muppet Babies segment was one of those that got axed when they would rebroadcast it later or when it was released on some form of home video version. But yeah, it's one of the only few that has all 4 of those in there. On top of that, it also has a cameo by Jim Henson. It's one of the later Jim Henson appearances because I believe he passed away like in 1990 or so. So it's a couple of years before he passed away. This is, again, one of the ultimate classics in our house. Not just for me, but for like my entire family. We loved the Muppet Family Christmas and can quote it and make jokes about it. Careful of the icy patch. You know what I'm saying. If you've watched this, it's great. I love how well it combines the Muppets and the Sesame Street and the Fraggles to pass it on and whatnot. It is so good.
By the way, I hate my adult brain because that song does not sound the same anymore.
No.
As an adult. When I give a gift to you, I know you're gonna give it to. That's because giving's what we do. You gotta pass it on. What are you talking about?
They're talking about STDs. Let's move on.
Yes, they are.
So
you ruined the kid thing.
Looking back on that, though, this is the other one that I know that both of us are going to put this S tier. This is absolutely S tier for our household, at least. And I still adore this. I want to watch this again now. So,
yeah. I mean, you pretty much said everything I got to say about this. The only other classic part of this I want to make mention of being one of my favorite things is the snowman outside with Fozzie Bear and them being a comedic joke duo and then telling the jokes to Statler and Waldorf. the good old church one. What do you call a church that's on fire? Holy smokes! Oh,
that was also a segment that has been edited out because of licensing rights for some weird reason.
Listen, you edit out all these segments, and you're left with nothing.
Yeah.
The version that we had is fantastic. Yeah, it's also an S tier for me. We've got a couple votes in the chat on B tier. I don't think we're gonna get any more votes because I think this is one of those situations like we're probably gonna run into at the next one as well, where people just didn't get a chance to see this as we saw it when we were younger.
Yeah.
And again, it's our channel, so it's gonna be on our list.
So what's the chat saying? B?
Chat saying B tier.
I mean, so top of A. This was the one that I was thinking would end up knocking out Grinch.
I think it goes top of A. I think you shift Garfield down and then you put Muppet right where Garfield's at right now.
I'm okay with that.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, Grinch, Charlie Brown, Rudolph, S tier.
Yeah.
I think you're going to be hard pressed to find a lot of people who have issue with that.
Yeah. Moving on to the next one that also came out in 1987. So this is one that probably I'm going to have a higher opinion than almost anyone else because again, this is the other one that I was thinking of. Probably not many people saw this. I know, Chris, you really never really watched this one either.
Are you kidding me?
Huh?
Are you kidding me right now?
Well, okay. So we're talking about Claymation Christmas Celebration. This was the last Christmas special that was on the VHS. In fact, it was so last that we actually didn't get to record all of it. It cut out in the middle of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, as sung by the California Raisins. So this is a claymation stop motion animated done by Will Vinton, who did the California Raisins. It is basically, this is a whole special that is highlighting different Christmas carols in vignettes. And these vignettes go from like really silly, like you got the We Three Kings as sung so very nicely by the Three Wise Men. And then there's like a doo-wop interlude by the camels that they're riding. And it's so silly, but it's really good. And then you've got like the Carol of the Bells, which is just super weird because it's all these anthropomorphic bells that are hitting themselves. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Like they're hitting themselves.
And the conductor is so annoyed with one of them.
Yeah, and the conductor is Quasimodo because this is being held at Notre Dame or in Notre Dame. And yeah, it's really funny. And then you get serious ones like there's the Oh Christmas Tree that we are constantly zooming in on an ornament in the tree, and we're seeing a scene based around whatever that ornament is, whether it's an ornament for the woodworking elves in the North Pole or a family gathered around the Christmas tree. We just constantly zoom in on these ornaments, and it's really nice and it's really cute. Then you've got like Joy to the World, which is all like stained glass window. It's very elegantly done. And then you get the California Raisins singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, all while the two dinosaur hosts are trying to argue and figure out what the words are to Here We Come a Wassailing, where one of them is a glutton and thinks that the whole song is about eating. Spoiler alert, it actually was by the end of the special. So go figure. But yeah, I like the special. I thought it was a lot of fun. Very well done. Now, compared to everything else that's on here, I don't hold it in quite in high regard. I have this as a C tier.
Oh wait, we got a C through F poll I gotta put up here. Hello? There we go. Yeah, so I'm surprised that you were saying that I probably didn't see this one. This is one of the ones that I loved.
Oh, okay. I am mistaken. Apparently, I don't know my own brother.
It's not S tier for me because I think that it's very hard to put like this over any of the actual holiday classics that just everybody loves and adores.
Yep.
But I will say that there's a special place in my heart for many of the different vignettes, and so much so that like I will probably throw this on after we're done with the Marquee, because I think it's also available on YouTube. But it's gonna be one of those ones where that people uploaded it in parts. So
that sucks.
It's fine. It actually plays out. That kind of stuff actually plays out because YouTube if it's in a playlist, it just moves on to the next one. It doesn't give you a break or anything really.
Yeah. It's I see a playlist of like 13 videos.
Yeah. So this one is actually really good. I really like it. I totally understand if we don't get a whole lot of votes from the chat on this one, because I think this one is a very niche. I don't know where you would go outside of what I just said. I don't know where else you would go to see this at this point.
Unless you grew up watching it when it would show like every year on TV.
And yeah, unless you just happened to catch it when it aired, basically, way back in the day.
Yep.
So for this one, I actually have it a little bit higher. I do have it in the A tier because I love the combination of everything and how they just the artistry of the claymation also is fantastic, and all the different vignettes. It's actually really, really impressive what they are able to accomplish with this. So I have this one in the A tier for myself. Chat is stuck between C and D. I don't really know that we get another vote from the chat on this one. So let's go with what you said, what I said, and then a C vote and a D vote. And we'll try to figure out from there.
So C and D, and I said C, and you're saying A.
Yep. So I know it's not going in the A tier. It's fine. It doesn't have to go in the A tier. So C, you said C, CCD, CCDA.
I think it should go based off of that. I would say it's going to go where 'Twas the Night Before Christmas is currently at, and knock it 'Twas the Night Before Christmas to the bottom of C tier.
Or depending on how this all works, I might bump it down to D tier.
We'll have 3 in C tier for right now, which that will probably change here in a little bit.
Because we like to lean towards the positive here, where pretty much S, A, and B are the ones that end up with the 3.
Usually, yeah.
Unless there's a situation where we're tier ranking something where there's at least 3 of them that are absolutely F tier.
Well, we'll see. Speaking of which, we're now going to 1992's Frosty Returns.
This exists. This is a real thing. In case y'all didn't know, this is a thing that actually exists.
So to say something positive about this, I absolutely love John Goodman doing the voice of Frosty the Snowman.
It's got a great voice cast.
Yeah. That's about it, though. I feel like this was a special that was made just to capitalize off the popularity of the original Frosty the Snowman.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, this is going to be kind of weird, but if y'all seen this, y'all might understand what I'm talking about. This particular special has nothing to do really with Christmas. Like, there's a holiday carnival that's going on that they're hoping that it's going to snow during, while we have like the villain of the entire special has created a spray can that can spray away snow.
And oddly sounds a lot like Bill Murray's brother.
It does. He does, actually.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Brian Doyle Murray. Yeah. Otherwise, this has nothing to do with Christmas. Unlike the original Frosty the Snowman, where the point was they were trying to get Frosty to the North Pole so Santa could use his Santa magic to help keep Frosty alive and whatnot. There was Christmas-like stuff a part of the original. This really doesn't have anything to do with Christmas other than it may take place during the holiday, which I feel like is the same argument a lot of people say for Die Hard.
My pushback and argument against that is that the Frosty character himself is Christmas.
Is a Christmas character.
Because of the first one.
Yeah, and yeah, it's kind of weird how, like, what direction you go down, how deep do you want to go to argue that kind of viewpoint, but if you look at it, if you take your opinion of it aside and just look for what this is on its own merits, It has nothing to do with Christmas. It's weird. There's gaps in logic. Like the original cartoon, he only came alive when the hat was on him. If the hat blew off, Frosty would cease to be alive.
He would freeze
back to a regular snowman. In this one, he takes off the hat multiple times and he's still alive. So logic be damned. This movie's just kind of dull and boring, and again, it just doesn't have anything to do. This is a cash grab. This is F.
I personally would not put it in F because I feel pretty solid on this list. Star Wars Holiday Special being literally the only thing that actually deserves the F tier on this list because of how just bad it absolutely is. That being said, I put this in D. This particular one it's cute. Love the idea of, kind of doing a fun little sequel to the original Frosty the Snowman, but the word forgettable comes to mind. There's just absolutely nothing about this that I think is memorable in any way. I would be surprised if anyone in the chat seriously told us that this is one of their favorite classics from when they were a kid and that they have to watch this particular one every single year because it's a tradition for them. I would be very surprised if anyone actually said that, and not sarcastically just to try to poke fun at me or try to get under my skin, whatever. I mean, actually, like, legitimately said that. It's forgettable. There's nothing exciting about it. It's got a great voice cast. That's about it. It's a D tier for me. So
I believe, William Harold, you are thinking of Batman Returns, which they are easily confused. I can see why that was a question, but yeah, very similar.
Other fun fact: the voice of the little girl here is Elizabeth Moss.
Yeah,
could never tell. She sounds like a little kid.
Yeah.
So there you go. Chat saying F.
F it is.
Chat saying F for forgettable as well. I'm D, 2 Fs.
And you know what? I think I'm actually going to put this over the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Oh, yeah. Star Wars Holiday Special is at the bottom.
Because, you know what? It's Star Wars, and I absolutely love Star Wars, but screw y'all for making this holiday special. This does not need to exist. What a terrible piece of content.
Yeah, Star Wars is absolutely at the very bottom of this list.
Yeah, it's a West Wing reunion. Actually, West Wing was a reunion from Frosty Returns.
Yeah,
because we were all begging for that one. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of our tier of our videos, movies, specials, whatever you want to call these. We are on our last one, which is 2022. You know, there really wasn't a significant Christmas special or holiday special between 1992 and 2022.
We time jumped.
Yeah, big time. So we are at the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. I think this was super fun. I thought it was great to make a holiday special with the Guardians of the Galaxy and then throwing the whole thing with kidnapping Kevin Bacon in there. So good. I loved it. I thought it was fun. This is B.
Yeah. There's not much extra to say. We'll probably actually highlight this on a future marquee where we have to revisit the MCU again. Mm-hmm. But as it stands, this was such like a great fun way of doing a holiday special within the MCU. And when we first heard like they're making a Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, I was like, I don't know what that could possibly look like, but I'm on board.
Yeah,
because I just have a feeling it's going to be a ton of fun, and it absolutely was. I never would have predicted that the whole thing would just be Mantis and Drax going and kidnapping Kevin Bacon from Earth. That's
so good.
That's such a hilarious spin on it.
Yeah,
and it's obviously it's got James Gunn style written all over it. It's got the Guardians of the Galaxy style written all over it. It is absolutely fantastic in its own right. The downside here is that it's on a list up against holiday classics that we've been watching for decades and decades and decades. And it is the new kid on the block. This will be an S tier for a kid nowadays. Some kid nowadays watched the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, has to watch it again this year, has to watch it again next year, has to watch it again. And they will grow up with this special, and this special will be an S tier for them in the future. And I think that's what's wonderful. And I think I would love to see more holiday specials, more and more holiday specials being made about classic characters, just new versions of them. Again, just because I would love to see a whole different kind of a list in the future with something else besides just the ones that we've grown to love over the past few decades. Because this goes to show that there is room for new holiday specials. You can make new holiday specials that are in pop culture and hit and can be counted amongst the list of all these kinds of specials and stuff. So it does help that the MCU is such a big pop culture phenomenon too, that if you're doing an iteration of that as a holiday special, is obviously going to, it's obviously going to be huge with a lot of people. For me, this one I put this one in the B tier, just because it's, again, stacked up against literally all the other classics on this list. But it is for sure far and away a lot better than the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Okay. And the chat is wanting to put it where?
Chat is saying A tier.
So A and 2B. So this is going to go...
That's going to be your third member of the B tier.
So it's probably going to go top of B.
Okay. And then I would bump down.
Twas the Night.
Twas the Night. And generally speaking, I'm actually not too mad about pretty much the way the list looks already.
The only one that I would still argue for is the one that we've been basically hinting about and talking about this entire time, is I would want to replace Muppets with Grinch. Switch Muppets and Grinch.
So here's where I lie on that issue. One, for me, for you, and just for me, and I know this is our channel, this is technically our list. We're just happen to be opening up for the chat to be able to vote into. For the two of us, that absolutely is true. But if we're looking at this from an objective standpoint, I can't see Grinch going below the Muppet Christmas Special. Family Christmas Special. As much as I love the Muppet Family Christmas Special, as good as it is, the Grinch is just... The three that we've got in S tier are just the three that are just in S tier,
And Nerd's pointing out, I think, we're pushing it already with Garfield above Frosty.
Yeah, that's... I'm going to argue that Garfield above Frosty here is
that's our family.
That's our touch on our own list.
Yeah.
I would say Frosty being an A tier, I think, is a solid thing. I mean, listen, he is technically correct. I mean, there is a world where Frosty should go above Muppet and Garfield, but
for the same exact reason. But
I think we would have to ask that folks who look on this list later on just be happy that Frosty is in the A tier, because I think it's in a fitting position being within that top ranking.
Yeah.
I mean, here's I like the list. I don't think I would really move a thing. I mean, I've got my own kind of maybe shift some things around in their own tiers, but it would just be splitting hairs for me to say you got to put Charlie Brown above Rudolph. I don't think you got to do that. I think the fact that they're both in S tier works.
Yeah, I would still argue Rudolph is the top of everything.
I would maybe argue that you put Santa Claus is Coming to Town over the Guardians of the Galaxy just based on its classic nature. But again, the same situation. I think maybe just the fact that they all exist in that B tier is good enough.
Yeah. So I think that's where this is going to land. So again, as per usual, I will clean up this image and drop it on Twitter tomorrow so other people can see and comment, and we can have a good old fun time with it on Twitter tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. If you see that, feel free to share it, comment, whatever. Do whatever you would like with it. But yeah, that's gonna be our ranking of these Christmas specials, and yeah, I'm happy with it as well. Let's go ahead and Carl, turn her off.
Carl does not turn any her off.
Does not turn. No, Carl turns all of her on.
Carl turns all of the her on.
What are we doing here?
I don't know. I'm just playing with the phrase.
Yeah. Anyways, so that is it for the Marquee. Next month will be January, so you will see the Marquee next year. Got to do the dad joke.
Oh my gosh, that's so dumb.
Yeah. I don't know what day we're doing the Marquee next year.
Probably expect it later in the month.
Later in the month, because we are about to take our hiatus that we usually do at the beginning of the year. So it will be towards the end of the month. It will be us tier ranking once again, like we've done the past couple of years or so. We will be tier ranking what we are highly anticipating for 2024. Which that one's always fun because that's like being able to judge the movie before you even see it. Maybe a couple of these we've seen the trailers for already that have come out recently, but otherwise, what are you highly anticipating? We'll look back also. One of the ones that I think is fun with it is we'll look back on what we were anticipating, the results for what we were anticipating last year, and see exactly how that wound up.
It's hilarious because as of recent times, due to the pandemic that was going on, obviously, it's weird to say the pandemic that was going on. We obviously like had some things that we ranked at one point, but then they hung out on the list for like the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Coming back in 2021, they're coming back in 2022. Likewise, we're going to have a couple of things that were on our anticipation list from this last year that will probably be on our anticipation list for this next year because the strikes happened.
Spoiler alert, Craven still is not getting that high on that tier ranking list. So
funny enough, though, and this is going to be fun because I believe that we can always go back and look at the list that we made from the year before and compare and contrast how did it shake out for us going forward. I would argue that wherever Dune 2 landed on our list for this year,
probably higher now.
I would say it's actually going to be higher now, given that we've actually seen the trailers, even though we haven't seen the movie yet. It's supposed to come out in November. I think it's going to be really interesting to kind of revisit that one since that one is going to be on the list again.
Yeah. Anyway, so that is coming out next month. So once we have that list formulated, again, if you are part of the Patreon, even at the $1 tier, you get access to our Discord, and I will have the list that we're going to be tier ranking. I will have that up on the Marquee channel on our Discord. So give us maybe a couple of days, and we'll get that hashed out pretty soon. So in anticipation for that. Otherwise, yeah, that's going to do it for the Marquee for tonight. Thank you, everyone who was here live. Very much appreciate y'all being here and watching this live. If you're watching this on a replay, if you weren't able to be here live, no worries. Thank you for watching it anyways. Any case, if you're watching on a replay, let us know comments down below. What did you think of this actual list? Of course, you can also comment that on Twitter when I post it up tomorrow. So anyways, either way, whether you're watching a replay or you're here live, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. We are currently at, it's going to be a nice little time capsule here. We are 14 subscribers left. 14 subscribers left before we hit 2,000. If you are not subscribed, please help us out. Hit that subscribe now so we can hit that 2,000 by the end of this month, by the end of this year, and we can start off next year with 2,000 subscribers and starting off in a good direction.
We got 16 days to hit 14 subscribers, so that's basically almost a subscriber a day for the rest of this month. Let's make it happen.
So make that happen. Help us out. Grant our Christmas wish this year.
Share us on all your social medias, on your Twitters and whatnot. Share. Hey, this YouTube channel. You need to subscribe to it. They're so close to 2,000. Help them get there.
Speaking of which, you can follow us on social media. We are at the Cinefanatics on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can follow me personally at Robert Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, also youtube.com/@RobertAdamsMLP.
And you can follow me at Chris Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, as well as twitch.tv/Chris Adams MLP.
Anyways, once again, thank you for watching this. We very much appreciate each and every single one of y'all for watching and viewing and liking and commenting and subscribing, all the good things. We will see y'all later. A good night.
Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays, everybody.
Bye.